Thanks for joining us live for hashtag She Talk. That is a segment on Word on the Street where I go one-on-one with prominent women from various walks of life, not only to celebrate their contributions to society, but to have a behind-the-scenes casual chat. My guest tonight does not need an introduction, but in case you've been under an international rock somewhere, I'll let you know. She is the youngest child of the late civil rights icons, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Mrs. Coretta Scott King. She is an Atlanta native. She is a global influencer. She is the CEO of the Martin Luther King Jr. Center for Nonviolent Social Change. And I could go on, but she's on the line. And I think I'm going to retire after this interview because my checklist is done. Dr. Bernice A. King, welcome to She Talk.
Hey, thank you so much, Melanie. Thank you. I'm glad to be here tonight.
Well, from one preacher's kid to the other, what I told you before we came on the air is true. So you're responsible for me retiring from WSB. Okay. So thank you again. Let's talk real quick about the big news around the world. It is the Atlanta Braves, and you're an Atlanta native. In your opinion, what does this mean? The Atlanta Braves winning the 2021 MLB championship. What does it mean to the city of Atlanta and surrounding areas?
Well, first, let me say, just like everybody else, I screamed and hollered at my TV.
Where were you watching it? Where were you watching it?
I was in my family room. Once they got to 5-0, I knew they were gone. When they got to the 7, I said, it's over. It's over. Oh, and I just screamed when it was over.
So you weren't like, you know what? You weren't like most people most Atlanta fans who say, you know what, no score is good enough. I've got to get this game over with.
No. I just knew it was over. When I saw that 5-0, I was like, it's done. They can't come back. So, you know what? We've been going through a lot as a culture, separateness because of the pandemic, some people feeling isolated, and a lot of divisiveness in this time. And so, we needed this win. It was a win for our culture in a season with all that's been happening, a win that kind of rallied all of us, together. And I'm just excited about it because, we needed that to lift us all up in this season. And I hope it's something that can translate into another kind of win for us because we need some wins for humanity. And so I think it was important culturally, but obviously economically. I mean, I thought about it, everything that happened with the what is it called? Come on, help me.
I can help you. For the one with what was canceled. Mina told me not to go off the script, so I'm just kidding.
No. Why am I having a blank?
Is it tonight? When the Braves the All-Star game left, or
yes,
yes.
When they canceled the All-Star, I said, "Look here, that was a one-shot deal. Look at here. Look what this did. It just." Multiplied exponentially what that would have done. And so, it was a big boost for our culture. It's a big boost for our economy. And it's going to draw some more business here. It's going to draw some more attention here. And I'm just excited that we're on the winning side.
The iconic Dr.
Bernice. Yes. And Hawks, you got next because I don't know about the Falcons. We got to skip them over this year.
So you know what I think is next, Dr. Bernice King? I honestly think this is the year for UGA, for football. It could be.
It could be. Definitely.
You backed out of that one. Are you a UGA fan?
Well, I have to be honest. I don't watch college football the same way other people do.
Okay, I got you. Fair enough. It's fair enough. It's fair enough. But the Hawks are next. I think the Hawks actually started this with that playoff run. So they
did. It's time for them to get to the end, though. We always get so close, and then we drop the ball. No pun intended. But golly.
But no for the Falcons. We're talking to Dr. Bernice A. King on hashtag She Talk. Thank you for joining us from around the country. Dr. Bernice King, what is something that people would be shocked or surprised to know about you?
I'm socially shy. I've spoken to hundreds of thousands of people, but I get lost when I'm in that awkward position to socialize. I get nervous. I have a lot of anxiety on the inside. and I feel like going somewhere and just, crawling up in the ball, just like, oh no, I don't want to be here.
Not you.
Not
you.
Yes, I'm very serious.
So
about
is this
that.
when you're
struggle.
So when you're behind the pulpit, whether you're preaching or teaching, you feel like that's your safe space, but it's when you have to socialize.
Safe space, and when I'm on task, if I'm focused on a task, serious task. But if I have to let down in the social environment, oh my God.
Wow. I honestly would have never guessed that about you. Wow, that's interesting. Okay. Dr. Bernice A. King on #SheTalk on 95.5 WSB. As I stated in your intro, and everybody listening to me already knows this, you are the CEO of the Martin Luther King Jr. Center for Nonviolent Social Change here in Atlanta. In this particular generation, when a lot of people in this generation feel disenfranchised, is it challenging to teach nonviolent principles?
Oh, it's more than challenging because, it's not only that. I mean, we kind of love violence in this culture. It's part of our entertainment, gaming. It's all around us, and so it's very difficult for people to understand it. But for us, it's a way of life. It's much deeper than a physical thing. It's a mindset. It's dealing with your emotions. It's how you speak it to people and talk to people. And engage them. And that's the way in which we try to teach it. If we get to people that way, I think if we have the inside transformation, we'll see a different kind of outward manifestation and appetite for something different. And that's what we're trying to do, really help to shape people to have a different appetite and outcome than what we're accustomed to, which is, impulsively, if somebody, hits us, if somebody strikes us, we're going to strike back, whether that's verbally or physically. Even when we're talking about politically, a lot of times people, are on these vendettas politically, when they're campaigning. And we just have to find a higher way to operate and engage in this nation. And so, yes, it is difficult. It's difficult for me to live it from day to day. I mess up quite a bit, but I'm committed to it as a way of life. I'm determined to get to a certain place where my words line up with what I believe in, and my actions follow suit.
Isn't it interesting, both of us being preachers' kids, that we're still constantly a work in progress?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We all are.
Right. So with that being said, you have a Nonviolence 365 education and training at the center. Who is that geared toward, and what is the mission? I'm sure it ties into the question I just asked.
Yeah, it does, because, it's really geared heavily towards, I would say everyone, but in particular influencers. I mean, influencers are not just people who hold positions, but people who really feel a call to make a difference in the world. And so the mission is to really empower people to create a just, humane, and equitable and peaceful world with the nonviolent principles and steps that my father left for us and that he engaged in.
We're talking to Dr. Bernice A. King, the youngest child of the said civil rights leader icon, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and Mrs. Coretta Scott King. Thank you for being on She Talk. Let's ask, if you could go back and live in any era, you're already laughing, I know, I'm interested to see what you're going to say, any era, Dr. King, what era would you go back and live in for 1 year, and why?
I'm just going to say the time that Jesus lived. I'm real honest about that, because I'm amazed at the things he did, the healings and the miracles. And you know what? I've always wanted to walk on water. Oh. And just to be there to see him walk on water and figure that out.
Wait, so would you have done the Peter and taken your eyes off of him, or would you have just kept your eyes on him?
I think I probably would have been like Peter. Most of us would.
Listen, that preacher comes out one way or the other, right?
We're like that every day. We know we're supposed to keep our eyes on him and follow his guidance, but we always kind of veer off to the left and to the right and get distracted.
Listen, yeah, Dr. King, I don't have an offering to Cash App you today, so you're going to preach, but I don't have it. We've got 4 more minutes. I know Mina told me 10 minutes. Can you do about 2 more questions with us, or?
Sure.
Okay, because that's what Jesus would do, right?
Yes, that's exactly what he would do. I'm going to do just like he would do. And my daddy would too.
Preacher's kid's boy. So, Dr. Bernice King, who is your biggest inspiration?
I can't say it's a person because outside of my parents and Jesus, as people would expect, it would really be the collection of people who are really working in the area of, social justice and trying to right some of the wrongs in our society. That's what keeps me going because this is hard work. And if you don't realize that there are other people out there, on the front line and, in the boardrooms even that are working on it and, in different spaces, you can easily give up. And so that's who inspires me collectively on a day-to-day basis.
Dr. Bernice King on She Talk. Do you cook? And if you do, what is your favorite dish? Uh-oh, come on.
Well, see, you know what? When the pandemic hit, it gave me a chance.
Wait, you just started?
Cook.
You just started in what, 2020?
No. I started cooking but guess what? I started cooking at 20.
Okay. And
but not in 2020. Right. I started cooking at 20. Literally.
Really? Okay.
And yes, literally.
What is your favorite dish?
My mother used to always tell people that Bernice is a good cook because the key to cooking is seasoning.
Okay.
And I season well. I love to do Cornish hens. I don't know how many people eat Cornish hens, but I love them.
So we heard my mom used to always do those for Thanksgiving up north. It was a specialty. So you do Cornish hens. What else? What is another dish?
Stuff them with some rice.
See, that's different. I don't think my mom did rice.
And I usually try to blend and mix some vegetables together. Some uniqueness, not the typical, squash, zucchini, carrots, but I can turn frozen vegetables into a delight.
Okay, and so are you a big cook for Thanksgiving? Are you going to do a big spread, or you get some help?
No, I don't do any of that. I don't do any of that.
Okay.
No, we usually get help.
Okay. And Dr. Bernice King, before we let you go, you're speaking to all of Atlanta. You're speaking to politicians. This is not on the question, Mina, so don't get me. But you're speaking to everybody. What do you say to them from this point forward until for the rest of their lives? What's a motivational message you can give to everybody, every generation, everybody listening to you now?
I guess my biggest message is to strive to look for humane solutions and engage in humane work, because we are living in some times that challenge that. And we got to make sure that our humanity stays intact. And so that would be my inspiration to people, is to just really ground yourself in that. And the next time when you're getting ready to make a decision as a politician, as elected official, next time you're getting ready to speak on radio, is this the humane thing to say? Is this the humane policy to introduce, or is it the humane thing to vote against this or vote for this? So that would be my message to everybody going forward, because that's how I want to be remembered, as somebody who inspired people to find humane solutions in a world that seems to be, bending towards inhumanity.
Dr. Bernice A. King, thank you so much for your time, my fellow PK. Continue doing what you're doing to be the global and local influencer that you are, and promise to come back out on so we can have some fun talk. I loved it.
Okay, I will, but you'll be retired, so I'll be joining somebody else.
That's right, because I checked you off my list. I got on this station to get you here, and it's over. Dr. Bernice King, thank you so much for joining us for She Talk.
You.
All right, have a blessed evening.
You do the same.